Hello everyone. Olá, tudo bem? I'm very excited that you guys are here. So first, I want to thank you for being here and let me introduce myself for those who don't know me. Muito prazer. I'm Carmen Lúcia Moura. I'm a native of Brazil with a wide breadth of experience on Portuguese English studies and passion for languages and cultures. The reason I'm speaking here in English is that I can speak directly to many cultures and foreigners to make sure they understand. Well, I hope you don't mind my English. It's a bit rusty nowadays as I've been working practicing way more in Portuguese. As you know, it's not my first language. Well, but everyone can learn a second language, right? And I can prove you that. Well, I had the opportunity to live abroad. I have attended an American university before going back to Brazil, where I also graduated in the area and continued developing, improving myself through many different courses. So let's talk about my work nowadays. My specialty is Brazilian Portuguese for foreigners. My work nowadays consists of teaching, guiding, and coaching students from around the globe with Brazilian Portuguese. I help them in all aspects in breaking the language barriers. I work with all language skills and methods, yet my main specialty is making students speak and communicate well in Portuguese. Over the last years, I've helped more than 1,000 students from around the globe on Skype and in person. I'm not just going to say this, I'm going to show some of my cases, my students, because better than saying this to you, it's showing the work. So I've worked in many companies with the main mission, helping students speak. I'm creator of the project Hello Portuguese that you're going to be checking on my website too. This is my project. And I'm also creator of the project of the unique method 5-step program that's be leading foreigners to fluency, to a faster acquisition of the language focused on speaking. I'm very excited to show you this program. I've been working on that for a long time. It's a result of a lot of work, research, and training in many fields, such as neurolinguistics for learning a second language. O que vamos ver? What are we going to see? In this workshop, I'm going to present you Portuguese speakers and main reasons why students have difficulty learning Portuguese. Show a part of a lesson, how beginners can start speaking. You're gonna learn 3 sentences if you're a beginner. If you're not a beginner, it's also helpful to so you can see a part of the method I use. We're gonna go through a success case. I'm going to show you one of my students who has achieved fluency. I'm going to show you this student because he started from zero. As an example, he started from zero and achieved fluency throughout this 5-step program. We're going to go through the importance of having a customized lesson plan with shortcuts. Then I'll present you the unique method finally, the 5-step program to speak faster and efficiently. So here I have a lesson for you. I'll make you speak from where you are. I'll show you how you can speak faster. My main focus, as I said, is helping students to speak. So the main focus is speaking Portuguese, expressing, working on this course, okay? So this unique method will show you that. And then there is a gift for those who watch to the end. So I hope you really stay to the end, not only because to get a free gift, but it's because I really hope you enjoy this knowledge and the lessons here and the program I'm going to show you. Vamos lá? First, let's situate ourselves briefly on the Portuguese language globally. Onde se fala português? Where's the Portuguese being spoken nowadays? We speak Portuguese in Brazil, Guiné-Bissau, Cabo Verde, Portugal, of course the mother one, São Tomé e Príncipe, Guiné Equatorial, Angola, Moçambique e Timor-Leste. There are also places that use the language unofficially, so the language is spoken by a restricted portion of the population in Macau and Goa, India and China. But the language is classified into European Portuguese, also known as Lusitanian Portuguese, and Brazilian Portuguese, Português brasileiro, used mostly in Brazil. It's spoken by virtually all of the 200 million inhabitants of Brazil. So, these are the 9 countries that have the native Portuguese language as official, so they belong to the Portuguese-speaking countries community, Comunidade dos Países de Língua Portuguesa, as we just saw in the previous page. So regarding Portuguese speakers, the total Portuguese speakers are 250 million, 50 million speaking European Portuguese, and 200 million speaking Brazilian Portuguese. Yes, 80% speaks Brazilian Portuguese. Now, can you imagine with the size of Brazil, the diversity of accents and different ways of speaking Portuguese according to each region? So it's very understandable that sometimes it's hard to understand Brazilian speaking. That leads us to the main reasons why students have difficulty in learning Portuguese. Let's now check the difficulties they face. Here I'm going to show you the main complaints and issues that I have been noticing over the past years when teaching students. For example, the form that is presented and taught, fragmented, too many rules ahead of time that only gets in the way of speaking, right? If you give the student too many rules for beginner or beginner to intermediate, especially, depending on each student, of course, they can get lost. But we learn to speak before reading and writing. So language, spoken language, comes first, then writing language, all over. In history, that's proven in history. And for us, for example, we learn to speak before reading and writing. When you're children, you're 4, you're 5, you're not in school, you're not writing and reading things, but you can speak. You can speak. We start speaking with our parents. We start actually conjugating things without noting that what we're saying is a conjugation. We use chunks of language. We so it's a linguistic approach. There is a program, né, and explanations for that. That show us that language is a part of our species, not just an invention that got out of hand. So it's supposed to be simple. Phonetics. Well, that's another thing that's we know that's very hard when learning a second language, right? The sounds of that language, the new combination system, stress, alphabet sounds, the way we conceive languages. In this case, the Romance language. So it's a different concept when when we conceive English, the way we conceive our speech, our discourse is very different. So it's important to have that in mind. Another point is in what way do I learn faster? Many students, they're not sure if they could be developing faster if the right approach was given to them. So in what way do I learn faster? And then comes the frustration now because if everything's too hard, when things are too hard, and this is neurolinguistic, né? If it's too hard, the student can't retain information. And what happens? He ends up thinking it's him, it's his fault. Oh, I can't learn. I'm bad for language. I'm not good at this. This is too hard for me. My brain doesn't work properly. So the frustration is one highlight too. They study too many things, do all activities, but when they try to speak, it doesn't come out. That's very common, right? Top complaints too, because in the languages, in the language system, we actually don't use 100% of our language, of our first language, the language we speak every day. We don't use 100% of it when we're speaking. Actually, it's proven that we use, depending on the field, depending on our daily activities, but we usually 30% only, right? So you don't want to feed, you don't want to give your brain, you don't want to absorb a lot of content, especially especially when we are adults. We already have a lot of content in our brain, a lot of information, and you can't. You don't want to put more information, too much information that you're not going to use. This is unproductive and extremely overwhelming. They are not sure which activities, websites, books work best for them, where to find proper ones. They're ashamed of their accent. Oh, this is very, very common. Well, I do have an accent too, so what? It's very common. Now, you've seen Brazil's size. You know that we all have different accents. Find time or someone to practice. This is very, very important and it's crucial. In my 5-step program, I have a really good solution for that. Now, how much time a day do you really need to work or study and do an activity? How much time for a writing activity? How much time for a listening activity? Okay, so I'm going to show you that in my 5-step program too. Hard time understanding Brazilian speaking, regionalism, different accents all over Brazil, right? So don't be hard on yourself. You've seen Brazil's size. You know the regionalism. You know that we speak in many different ways. All right, there are shortcuts for that too. No oriented study plan focused to the goal, area of language and region. Let's say the people you're dealing, you have to speak, you have to write emails, you have to Skype. They are South people, people from the South. They have different accent from Southeast people, from North people. That means that you gotta focus, you gotta guide your study into that area if you want to understand them. Now, you can have a teacher from the South, for example. We have teachers from the South to practice that. Or shortcuts, again, to show you, tips to show you how to break into the language they speak. This is very important to know to what area actually you're speaking with. Né? Again, time is precious, so everything we teachers, doctors, masters, we study hard, we go deep to help students out. We do that because we know how long it takes to get there. It's a very good thing that you can take the advantage of having a program that already thought about everything, thought about these details for you. Okay? Hard time understanding TV and movies and etc. Classical, right? So hard to understand people speaking fast. Next to this here, I'm going to give you a lesson. In this lesson, I'm going to explain the reason why is it so hard to understand when people speak fast. As advanced questions sometimes need an explanation in English. Evaluation of differences. It needs an analogy. Okay, so let's say you're advancing, né? And that is something that you're getting stuck on that because of a simple rule that can be exposed to you in your own language. Why not? People say, no, the lesson needs to be only in Portuguese. There are many different theories about that, but I can assure you that many masters, doctors, many real, real good teachers agree in the point that why take a month, 2 months? stuck in a rule that it's really hard to be explained in the target language if you're not fluent in the target language. Sometimes it's good because it's a second language. It means that you have your first. You have the structure of your first language in your mind. And sometimes you're not even aware of this structure. And that's okay. So that's why bilingual teachers, it's also a shortcut. It also makes things way easier for you to get there because they are aware of the equivalences, the non equivalences between languages. And this is very, very important because they can explain you in the right moment, not always give you the explanation in English, but in the right moment. Sometimes it's good for you. They can give you an explanation of how this rule actually works in your mother language and how it's conceived in Portuguese. Sometimes it's something so hard, so advanced that you're not gonna get that on your own, or if you do, it'll take so long. Again, time and more, way more. But let's get to the lesson, right? Now I'm going to show you how a lesson works. I'm going to show you a piece of a method that works very well for beginners and some intermediate too. Vamos lá? I'm going to teach you in a few minutes how you can use these useful sentences. I'll give you two verbs, piece of vocab to make a dialogue in a role play. So it's just a simple demonstration, but you can see how it works because you're going to see a 00 student, level 0, basic, with me, okay? And then the importance of these sounds. And the sounds of the Portuguese letters. You're going to check with me the main combination of sounds. I'm going to go through linking sounds. And I'm going to teach you, if you don't know, to say where you are from and where you live, but with the use of correct prepositions for countries, states, and cities. Attention because we have contractions. Vamos começar. Let's go then. You're gonna watch now me and a student, Carol. Carol is learning Portuguese for the first time. Let's take a look. I'm going to give you two verbs, basic verbs, né? To drink and to eat. So how is it to drink? Say with me, beber.
Beber.
Again, beber.
Beber.
Muito bem. To eat, we say comer.
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 Muito bem. Let's get something in the vocab that you can eat and you can drink. You can drink, for example, coffee. So coffee, we say café.
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 Muito bem. Now, let's get a subject. If I say I drink, I say eu bebo.
Eu bebo.
Eu bebo.
Eu bebo.
How it is to drink?
Beber.
Isso aí, beber. So, beber. Let's get one more vocab. So here, how is coffee?
Café.
Okay, café, you already know. Now let's get water. Water, we say água.
Água.
Muito bem, água.
Água.
Let's remember, how can I say I drink?
Eu bebo.
I drink coffee.
Eu bebo café.
Now give an extension. You substitute café for another drink. So, I drink coffee, eu bebo café. If I give you water, I drink water.
Eu bebo água.
Muito bem. Let's say you drink. Você bebe.
Você bebe.
Você bebe.
Você bebe.
You drink water.
Você bebe água.
Coffee.
Você bebe café.
Muito bem. To eat.
Comer.
Comer. Let's find something we can eat. We can eat cheese. Cheese we say queijo.
Queijo.
Muito bem. Queijo.
Queijo.
And let's say one more. Peixe, fish. Peixe.
Peixe.
Muito bom. If you say I eat, we say eu como.
Eu como.
You eat, você come.
Você come.
Muito bem. So, how is to eat?
Comer.
I eat,
Eu como.
you eat.
Você come.
Now let's remember the vocab. What can you eat? Remember fish.
Peixe.
Muito bem. And cheese.
Queijo.
Now tell me, I eat cheese.
Eu como queijo.
I eat fish.
Eu como peixe.
You eat fish.
Você come peixe.
You eat cheese.
Você come queijo.
Muito bem. Let's mix them. I drink water and I eat fish.
Eu bebo água e eu como peixe.
Muito bem. Eu bebo água e eu como peixe. Repeat.
Eu bebo água e eu como peixe.
Exatamente. So, as you could see in this demonstration, it's okay, it's easy to understand when we say isolated. If I say eu bebo água, all right. Oh, that's so easy, Carmen. I understood that. But the problem is that when people speak naturally, when they say just like eu bebo água, eu bebo água, eu bebo água, it's one sound. Eu bebo água, it's another sound. Why am I showing this to you? Because the sounds of the alphabet letters isolated do not represent the same sound when the letters are used together in a word combination, in a syllable. One of the reasons why understanding natives speaking naturally is difficult is due to these phonetic elements, combination of sounds and linking sounds. So, the sound eu bebo água, three words, né? But when you link the sound of this subject with the sound of this verb with the sound of this noun, it makes an entire new one sound. Eu bebo água, like a new word. Okay, one point. So that's why it's very important to study combinations. Combination of sounds. Another example. Você come peixe. You eat fish. Você come peixe. And then you might be wondering, here the E has a sound. Peixe, come. Why this A here? Letter E for us, right? It sounds like E at word end. Yes, so E, this letter E for you guys in English, at word end, we shut the sound to an E sound. Come peixe. Not with this accent here. When you have the circumflex accent, no. But just to tell you, just to show you how different sounds, to explain why it can be hard to understand. You don't notice, we're not aware of these changings, but they happen, and that's why it's harder. Yeah? Or we call this linking sounds. When the sound of a noun links with the sound with the beginning of the next noun, and so on, it makes another sound. So linking sounds, understanding and making out a language, a speech, breaking to that, it's all about linking sounds. If you're still not familiar with Portuguese, it's important to understand the main combinations. Right next to it, you're going to have the English sound of this combination or this letter in a word. You can make your own, it's like making your own phonetic dictionary so you can feel confident when speaking that word or syllable. So through these common Brazilian names, we can go throughout all the sounds of the alphabet. It's very good because you know Brazilians and you know and you start speaking their names correctly is a start. Just for example, I, Jaime, C can be a K sound, right? Like Catarina, but can also be an S sound, like Alice. The cedilha sound Iguaçu. Classical CH sound we have in Portuguese and Spanish too. Chuí, right? So this is your equivalent sound in English. It helps a lot. As we're checking come e bebe, see, now you've learned. You already know that E makes letter Portuguese letter like Helena, Helena, né, as in Latin. Helena, but at word end, Simone, Simone really shuts the sound. Now you know, like what? Eat, you eat. Remember? Você come. Not você come. No, você come. Você bebe. You drink. That's why. And all the nouns work the same way at word end E. R and S. So R. Initially, R for us sounds like an H, an American, an English H. Okay? So you never say Rosanna, you say Hosanna, a light H sound. Hosanna, Rio, Ronaldo, Rua, Roberto, I'm sure you know more. Double R also sounds like an H, always. Terra. But depending where you are. In Brazil, the R when it comes after a vowel, né, or in another combination like this name, Fernando. I am from Rio de Janeiro, so I say Fernando. I have the French R that we got from the French court. That we used to copy the French speaking, so we ended up saying Fernando. But we also have what? Spanish R. So some parts of Brazil people say Fernando, like São Paulo in the capital. But in the country part of São Paulo, people say Fernando, Fernando. So there are three kinds of R, and they are all correct. Let's get to the S. S is also very interchangeable. People speak in many different ways around Brazil. So we have the Xuxim S from Rio, from Bahia, other parts of Brazil. Like at word end we say Carlos, Carlos. The Portuguese, like in Portugal too, the Xuxim S, and the Spanish S, Carlos, Carlos. Okay, this is just a demonstration of the main points. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is how to say where you are from and where you live. How can you say in Portuguese? Né? I'm from America. I live in California, or I live in Los Angeles, for example. Um, one thing that is very tricky. Why? Because Portuguese, you notice that everything takes article, right? And the article we're talking about here is the definite article. The can be feminine a or masculine o, as you know. Everything in Romance language can be masculine and feminine. So before now feminine nouns, we're going to use a. Before masculine nouns, o. Okay, always, Carmen. No, not always. Oh, see. So when you don't have, when the noun is not feminine or masculine, what do? We consider it neutral. Let's say like this. So no article. Because if it's neutral, it's not feminine or masculine, I don't need to specify if it's a or o. We just keep this. But the thing is, eu sou de Brasil, do São Paulo, da São Paulo. what is it? What is the rule? So regarding countries, cities, we do have exceptions, but the rule is for countries for us, countries take article. So face it like this. We consider countries men and women. We consider countries feminine or masculine. Então, for example, países here, countries, okay? O Brasil, because Brazil is masculine. A China, China is feminine. O Japão, Japão is masculine. So countries are feminine or masculine. So you're gonna use the article the. Cities we consider neutral. So before cities, you don't use a or o, no article. Let's stick to these two only, countries and cities. So, what is the preposition of place? Em is equivalent to in, at, and on. We actually have only one preposition to mean in, at, and on in this moment here, which is em. I mean, no and na are not another preposition. No and na are contractions. It's the same. Here it's in, at, and on. Let's make an example. I live in Japão. Tá? I live in Japan for you guys. What happens here? Eu moro. So you have preposition em, in. Japão is a country. So it's what? O Japão. Right? So you have to consider to live in a place, the position where you live in can be country or city. Here's a country. But as it's a country, you need to have an article, o or a. Japão is masculine, so you have em o Japão changing for no Japão. But if you say I live in Tokyo, for example, for instance, eu moro, okay, in is em again. Tokyo. Tokyo takes a no or a article, feminine or masculine, none. Why? Tokyo is neutral. Why? It's a city. Cities don't take article. What do? Nothing. Leave it neutral. Tokyo. So the rule is before cities, keep the em. Before countries, you're gonna link to the no or na. It's going to contract to a no. It's going to contract into a no or na. If you live in a country, if you're using or staying in, the preposition in, not from. Here in at on and here we're gonna work with from, right? G, de, né? But naturally we say G. In same thing, okay? We work in the same rule. So if I'm from the USA, tá? I'm not getting to the verb to be here. Also, okay, G, from's G, neutral. USA in Portuguese. What do you say? Oh, for us, USA, os Estados Unidos. Very masculine, plural. What are you gonna do here? Eu sou, contract G plus the article, os in plural this time because the United States is plural, né? Eu sou dos Estados Unidos. Muito bem. I'm from New York. Eu sou de, to be from, ser de, de. New York, country or city? City. Takes the article? No. Keep neutral. Sou de New York, ou Nova York, as we say in Portuguese. Ok. So Rio, there are some exceptions, né? Rio de Janeiro, some other exceptions too, 6 to 7. but here we stick to this for now. Exception Portugal, né? Então, if you're from Portugal, eu sou de Portugal. If you live in Portugal, eu moro em Portugal. Don't worry about the structures now, I'm not getting to that now, but here, just from a place, in a place, or at or on a place, but in this case, em Portugal. Exceptions, okay? For countries and cities too, né? That's why sometimes you get confused. Oh, my friend said he's from São Paulo, ele é de São Paulo, but Rio, they say ele é do Rio. Então, this is why people say eu sou do Rio. I'm from Rio. Opposite, eu sou de São Paulo. And sometimes you don't know why this happens, né? Why it's not do São Paulo here or de Rio here? Because Rio de Janeiro is an exception. Take the article, we consider Rio de Janeiro masculine. As Rio, né? It's a river. It's river, actually. So it's river of January. It's a noun. And river is a masculine noun. O rio. The river. Ok? Então, Rio de Janeiro is a masculine exception. Okay, this is just a preview, giving just a drop of a lesson here. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, I'm delighted to introduce you one of my students who began from zero. Please meet Dylan Cuff.
Here with Renato Cerezo, he's the sambaing street sweeper, worldwide fame, traveled all over the world. Give us a little of your moves real quick.
Vou parar porque ele pediu nós dois.
No. I don't know what I'm doing. Oi todos, eu sou Dylan. Eu sou apresentador de esportes na televisão para a ESPN. Antes disso, eu trabalhava para um canal que se chama NBC, que transmite as Olimpíadas aqui nos Estados Unidos. Tinha vontade de trabalhar nas Olimpíadas no Brasil, porque venho amando o Brasil desde a minha primeira viagem que fiz em 2009. Eu achei que precisava de um tutor. Eu procurava pela internet e encontrava muitos tutores. Eu fazia as aulas com esses professores, mas não gostava muito das aulas. A maioria desses professores não foram preparados e não comunicaram bem comigo. Mas um dia eu encontrei Carmen. Foi legal imediatamente. A nossa primeira aula foi ótima. Eu aproveitei a aula e eu sabia que ela poderia me ensinar a língua. A gente tem trabalhado por 2 anos. Ela ensina com muitos métodos. Ela me dá exercícios das novelas, das notícias, filmes e outras coisas tipo assim que eu assisto e eu gosto. Também a gente pratica gramática e eu faço exercícios sobre gramática. Mas às vezes as aulas que mais eu aproveito são as aulas que a gente só conversa sobre a cultura brasileira e a cultura americana. Enfim, ela sabe do que eu gosto na minha vida em geral e ela cria exercícios e as aulas a respeito desses temas. Ela cria um método que eu consigo aprender e aproveitar o processo também. Mas por que eu queria aprender a língua? Inicialmente eu quis aprender porque eu fui à Copa do Mundo no Brasil em 2014. Antes disso, eu quis me comunicar quando eu estava lá. Depois da Copa, quis continuar as aulas por causa das Olimpíadas no Brasil em 2016. Mas desta vez foi bem diferente, porque a Copa foi de férias para mim. Mas as Olimpíadas foram o meu trabalho. Eu sou apresentador dos esportes na televisão. E eu precisava falar muito bem porque ia fazer as minhas entrevistas em português. A gente trabalhou muito juntos e as Olimpíadas foram ótimas. As reportagens em português foram boas, os fãs gostaram e os meus chefes ficaram muito impressionados. Quanto a isso, eu falo muito obrigado, Carmen. Não teria essa oportunidade sem você.
Oi, pessoal, it's me, Carmen. Did you like Dylan's experience? Now it's your turn. The same 5-step program that led Dylan to fluency can now lead you to. If you came with me, it's because you need to learn Brazilian Portuguese, right? So before continuing this video and showing you how the 5-step program works, you can go ahead and take the next step by clicking the sign up button below to talk to me. I'll be personally on Skype with you so you can ask your questions. Besides, you'll win a free trial lesson on Skype, where we'll do a leveling too. When you click the sign up button, you'll find a form where you can tell me more about your main goals with Brazilian Portuguese, so I can get the right material based on your need. All risk-free, okay? There's more. I'm giving you a 100% free ebook, Tools to Study Portuguese. I've prepared it with all my heart. So in this ebook, I share with you some important websites and free activities, some shortcuts, very important shortcuts, and some of my secrets. So just go ahead and click the button below. I'll be waiting for you on the other side, okay? Now, let's continue to the final part of this video, where I show you in details the 5-step program to speak faster and efficiently. We're almost there. Vem comigo. Come with me. Hi guys, I'm back. Isn't it Dylan's experience nice? I mean, what can we say? It's so nice to see a student achieving a goal. Well, he just committed to the program. Well, that leads us to the 4th stage, the importance of having a customized lesson plan with shortcuts. Methods and approaches, theories of learning. The starting point for all language teaching should be an understanding of how people learn. But it's too often the case that learning factors are the last to be considered. So each person has its own way of learning. In other words, the key to successful language learning and teaching lies not in the analysis of the nature of the language, but in understanding the structures and process of the mind. Well, of course, we still know too little about how people learn. Nevertheless, if we wish to improve the techniques, methods, and content of language teaching, we must try and base what we do in the classroom with the student. Let's quickly check the main learning theories. They are applied in many different fields regarding education and psychology. So the behaviorism, most of you remember the little mouse, right? What does the little mouse do? It does a repetition. So Skinner and Pavlov theory is very well known when consider learning a mechanical process of habit formation. Learner here is a passive receiver, so behaviorism is about creating habits to learn. As the name says, it's a learning. It's learning through a repetitive behavior. The teacher here works with encouragement and reward. Cognitivism. Learning is considered an active process of making sense of data. Learner is an active processor of information center of the learning process. Problem solving. What does it mean? In the cognitivism, everything is related to the brain. People think and make sense to the input they receive. The teacher here might provide information and the student has to process and proceed with this information. Yeah. People learn, it tells us that people learn by solving problems, for example. Then we have the constructivism. This social interaction is very, very used nowadays too. Well-known famous theories of Piaget and Vygotsky. Yeah. People who work in the education field, they know that. Here, learning is taken by an active process of construction. The emphasis on the process, not on the final product. The experience, the interaction is more important. Learn by doing with others. So cognitive and social. In the constructivism, the learning is neither mechanical, it's not a process in the mind. So throughout experiences, working with hands, interactions, learn by doing, not only cognitive, but a social process. Still popular today, very popular. And then we have the affective factor. Well, after the 80s, we started considering emotion into the learning process. Theories of Gardner and Lambert, learning here is taking an emotional experience. The cognitive and emotion aspects work together. So we need motivation, learning styles, multiple intelligences. The affective factor, learners are different from each other. All the other theories consider that we all have the same characteristics. But here, no. From the 80s on, we started saying that we are different. Learners learn in different ways. Learn is also an emotional experience. So the role of motivation for learning is really important. There is the audio, visual, synesthetic. We learn by different ways. We also consider the multiple intelligences. Music, we can learn through music, linguistic, interpersonal relation. So we consider all these facts in the learning process. What we have to consider here is what is the difference between them? Is the role of the teacher during these processes and the focus on specific skills. So they have a difference in that. Yeah. So now we can move to methods and approaches. What comes next? The methods and approaches back in history began around the 19th century with grammar translation, then direct approach, reading approach, then audiolingual method during the Second War, and finally the communicative approach. There was the line up to date. All of these approaches are extremely important, and if combined at appropriate times, they collaborate with each other. With the advance of new technologies, what comes next to this? I mean, how can we adapt all this knowledge to the infinitive possibilities we now face in this era? Well, we call this the post-method era. Welcome to the post-method era. The effective use of technology in education has changed the face of education and it has created more educational opportunities. So both teachers and students have benefited from various educational technologies. In the post-method area, it's a totally different framework. Kumarava de Vello, one of our best scholars, called it macro-strategy framework. This is, a, this is an area where we maximize learning opportunities, we facilitate negotiated interaction, minimize mismatches, activate intuitive heuristics, foster language awareness, contextualize linguistic input, integrate language skills, promote learner autonomy, raise cultural consciousness, ensure social relevance. By Kumara Vadivello. That's what we have as modern up to date. We are in an era where the post method learner and the post method teacher are considered autonomous individuals. The learner, he has no boundaries. As a teacher is an autonomous individual with continual process of self-development, he can never stop learning and searching, encouraged and empowered to embrace aspects of possibility, self-explore and self-improve, and conduct teacher research, as I said. So this is our framework nowadays. In our lessons, we're going to do a combination of audiolingual method, communicative approach, and Skype lessons. But the lessons will go like this. You're gonna watch a video lesson, use of visual aids, drills. Then you're going to do some activities and we're going to work with the communicative approach where learners learn language through using it to communicate. You bring it to our reality, so authentic and meaningful communication. And then this combo works with the Skype lessons, alternating interact one-on-one, practice content, and customize the experience according to a student. It works like this. Here's a 5-step program to speak faster and efficiently. You start with a pre-lesson preparation video. You can watch it anytime, anywhere, 15 to 30 minutes depending on the level. Then you go to a pre-lesson written, a take-in activity from what you've seen here. Then you come to class. You come to real live lesson, Skype lesson, 30 minutes to drill and to speak with the teacher. He will guide you throughout this experience here. Then you have again a taking homework aimed at students' goal. So when next class comes, 30 minutes speaking, it's focused on your real experience. So it brings you to reality and makes you speak with meaningful interaction. This format leads you to speak everything you are learning. When you finish this stage, you go to the next lesson. It's really simple and really fun. Okay, how about the time? How much time am I going to spend studying? It's easily adaptable. You can easily adapt into your routine because time is precious, right? It takes 15 to 40 minutes, these video lessons on the nicest platform, easily accessed on your e-learning platform. In the beginning, it takes 15 minutes, this preparation, this video, and then it starts increasing the time. After watching the video, you do the written activity. The written activity also takes 15 to 20 minutes after lesson 3 and 4. The beginning it takes less. And then here, attention, these two parts, you're not with the teacher yet. So you can do this, for example, on a Monday and on Tuesday, you have a Skype lesson with a teacher, 30 minute talking. But it's not so much, okay? If you want, you can do that right before the lesson, let's say Tuesday, if you have time. In this 30 minutes with a teacher, you have a taking homework, right? 15, 20 minutes. So, for example, one day, next day this, so Monday, Tuesday, on Wednesday, you do this activity, 15 to 20 minutes, so you remember what's going on, things, write down your questions. Thursday, you can have it again, your 30 minutes with your teacher to speak it up, and then you're ready to go for the next lesson for the next week. So you have plenty of time here. Have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to watch the preparation video for the lesson 2, for example. So see, it's not exhausting, it's not overwhelming content. But if I teacher, I really want to study more, I don't get overwhelmed. Perfect. All right. We can give you more information. We can give you extra activities. You're going to have a student private area, so you have transcription activities, soap operas, movies, series, um, verb, grammar activities. So you can, if you feel that you're advancing, and if the teacher feels that you can go faster, he'll go faster with you. Remember, each student learns in a different way. So here you're going to be focused and following your learning process. Okay, but this for sure, this will give you the least that you can do. So you speak here all the content you have lesson 1. When you arrive here, you're speaking everything. That proven. I really, you can like complain with me and say, "Oh, Carmen, I give you your money back because I'm not speaking here." No, that's not gonna happen. And then, you have an amount, an average of 2 hours, 2 to 30 minutes, and then 3, the maximum week, so you don't get overwhelmed. Depending on the student, we can adjust other activities, extra activities, and guide. But as my student Dylan was out of Brazil, you can do this is for speaking even if you're outside of Brazil. So how does the course work? The complete information on the course syllabus you're going to be receiving here and also in the link below. 100% online e-learning platform and Skype. So you're going to learn through the platform. The videos are there, the activities are there. Organized video lessons you watch wherever you are. These video lessons you can watch wherever you are, many times as you want. So you and the teacher will combine 2 days a week for a Skype lesson. He will guide you. No expiration time for visualization. Platform is free for you. You can have your course there for as long as you wish. A certificate of course completion will be issued by Hello Portuguese, and you're going to have personalized coaching. You have access to the student private area. So we provide material links, and here you can download our ebook on Tools to Study Portuguese. It's also going to be on your student private area, but you can go ahead and download it. It's very important during your study process. Check our special prices. Lessons as low as $28 per hour, and also check our different combos. Speak to us. We can explain you how it works. We offer different combos, video plus live lessons from $660 to $1,300, $1,300. Remember always the advantages of this. Convenient schedule, speak live, lower total costs, save money, time, journey, greater access to expertise, best use of the latest technology, more dynamic lessons. The teacher counts on more resources, programs, tools, and material. You're going to improve your technical skills and the most up-to-date content. So we can help you if you are traveling to Brazil, working in or with Brazil, in love with Brazilian culture, starting a business in Portuguese, studying for tests in Portuguese such as Celpebras, and more. Thank you so much for being with me to the end. Sign up on the click button below. You're gonna have a free ebook, a surprise, a free trial lesson, and I'll see you on the other side so I can answer your questions, okay? Muito obrigada. It was a great pleasure being here with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm very excited and waiting for you on the other side. Beijos, tchau, tchau, até logo!